This is what the legislation that passed today in the House says. It would ban the following locations from quote-unquote discriminating against individuals based on sexual or gender identity. And it defines these places as a stadium or other place of or establishment that provides exhibition, entertainment, recreation, exercise, amusement, gathering, or display. Any establishment that provides a good service or program, including a store, shopping center, online retailer, or service provider, salon, bank, gas station, food bank, service or care center, shelter, travel agency, or funeral parlor, or establishment that provides healthcare, accounting, or legal services. Any train service, bus service, car service, taxi service, airline service, station, depot, or other place of or establishment that provides transportation service. Inez, that covers a lot. Here's my question. When they're talking about any establishment, that phrase, any establishment, when they're talking about public accommodations, that phrase, public accommodations, is that not vague enough to include churches?
That's what a lot of folks are worried about with this bill. There is no exemption for churches. And I'd actually like to highlight a couple of the other categories you mentioned. Medical professionals, right? If, for example, you are a doctor who does not believe in removing the perfectly healthy organ, of the uterus from a, 18-year-old woman who wants to transition into being a man, if you do not think that that's a procedure that's in line with your Hippocratic oath and your religious faith, this bill does not protect you from saying no. You cannot say no to performing that medical procedure. So I want to highlight that in terms of the conscience rights that will be violated. But I think the bottom line here is that this is an attempt to drum people who disagree on issues of human sexuality, and then at this point, even issues of biology, out of the public square, make them completely unable to participate in life in practically any way other than, sort of within the four walls of their home, right? It's an attempt, for example, to make religious faith be something entirely private. Like, yes, you can pray how you want in your own home, but in public, you're going to accord with the ideas of the far left in terms of human sexuality and biology. That's not freedom of religion. That's, freedom of conscience in your own home, but that's not freedom of religion. That's not what's guaranteed to us by the Constitution. And our right to participate in debate in public life is also just under attack. People who, if you want to own, just for, as I said, a spa, for example, in countries where they have these kinds of gender identity laws, like Canada, there was a case a year or two back where a Muslim woman who worked at a spa was requested, she was asked to do a waxing procedure on a biological man, including around his genitals, because he said he was a woman. And she said her religious faith and her personal, comfort demanded that she not perform that procedure, on a person who had male genitalia and who she was going to have to touch. No law should force a woman against her will to touch male genitalia, but that's actually a conceivable outcome of these kinds of laws, and in fact has happened in countries where they have these kinds of laws.